Welcome to Buddhist Daily. This is our meditation and practice series. I'm Tal, your host, and here to answer our questions is Lama Dawa. Hi, Lama Dawa.
Hi, Tal, and hi, everyone.
So today's question is geared towards group meditation. Can you explain group meditation? What are the benefits, if any? Why is it done? Is it done? So fire away.
Kind of an interesting question. I have several perhaps unique perspectives on this. Of course, group meditations are done whenever a group gathers. If they meditate, then it's group meditation. And in temples and monasteries throughout Asia and in the rest of the world, of course, there's temples, there's groups, there's Dharma centers. There are people that gather around different teachers, lamas, or from other Buddhist traditions and practice in group settings. In Vajrayana, there's lots of ritual kinds of practices that are done in groups. Sometimes these involve typically chanting. It's not just silent meditation, right? So with chanting and various things, that's a specific kind of, you could say, form of Buddhist meditation and practice. That's what we call Vajrayana, the sort of the Tibetan, Himalayan sort of style of Buddhism. But there are 10-day Vipassana retreats and other kinds of Vipassana and other retreats that people do, again, in a group setting and do silent meditation. So basically, that's what goes on. But then we have the issue or the question of one's personal practice at home. That's obviously not a group meditation. That's a solitary or solo or whatever we want to call it, one's independent practice. And something that actually I feel is very important to have a daily practice on your own. We don't require a group or a partner. It's not a team effort. This is about directly working with our meditative practice and our own mind and what comes up in our mind and how we work with our distractions. These are all things that we do ourselves. Even if we're in a group, we do it ourselves. It's only me on my mat. There may be a lot of other people also on their mats, but the point is we are on our mat ourselves doing our practice as individuals. As is said, we're born alone and we die alone. And in between, we may interact with many people, but we're still fundamentally in our own skin, and with our own mind and our own ego. So I think it's very important to cultivate the ability to be, you could almost say, self-motivated to practice by oneself. Now, in groups, there is an added, maybe you could say, a group synergy or peer pressure, we could almost call it, or just the idea of joining with others with a common purpose or a common goal. And that's a very valid, wonderful thing. It's great. And that can be actually very inspiring for people, which is extremely important. So, actually in Buddhism, we talk about taking refuge in the three jewels, the three things that we can kind of count on, or we say take refuge in. And one is the Buddha, of course, the historical person who actually achieved full awakening and then gave as free teachings to anyone that was interested in what his wisdom was. Then there's the Dharma, the actual teachings of the Dharma, of the Buddha and the enlightened ones, which are the teachings that we follow. And then there's the third jewel of the three jewels we talk about, which is called Sangha, and that is about community. However, we could say there's two kinds of community that are sometimes called Sangha, and one is the community of our friends and other travelers on the path. But that's not what we're taking refuge in. We take refuge when we say Sangha, it means in lineage holders, great teachers of the past, beings who really exemplify and have really embodied fullness of the teachings. those are beings that are worthy of taking refuge in as well, because they're great examples of people that followed the Buddhist teachings, so the Buddha and the Dharma, and achieved realization to different degrees. So from that standpoint, that's also about community. I'm just kind of giving a little broader context to your question. So that's basically it. But if you're in an area where there's Dharma center that you belong to, there's groups, if that inspires you, if that helps you, if that encourages you and supports your practice, go for it. It's really important. Is it necessary? No. Dharma practice is still about you relating to your own mind, whether you're by yourself or with a group.
I heard you use the term refuge. Can you give me a little bit more of an understanding of what that means?
Excellent question. So refuge, and one translation I like that's translated from the Tibetan, often, of course, commonly used, we say take refuge. But another translation I once heard that I liked was called safe harbor. Where do we find safe harbor? Or as Bob Dylan said, shelter from the storm. The storm being the world, the dramas, and the emotional things that we deal with, whether it's jealousy, anger, impatience, pride, strong attachments. Those are the storms that we are seeking shelter from. And refuge or safe haven is where we go to protect, you could say, ourselves, or find a place of safety where one can feel safe and can practice and can find something that's authentic. So when we say take refuge, in the Buddhist tradition, for you viewers who are new to this, refuge is the beginning of the Buddhist journey. So typically, if you do find a Buddhist teacher, it can be a community, as we were talking about a few moments ago, but if you find a Buddhist teacher that you really connect with, you really resonate with, and you really believe in, that they are authentic and are really have your best interests at heart, they are altruistic, they embody the best of the teachings, they are someone that you can go to have a refuge ceremony, we call it. It's a very short, simple little procedure, but it's a formal entry into the Buddhist path. It's a formal kind of acknowledgement. And you're basically asking, can I join this tradition, this lineage? And you are given sort of this vow of refuge. There's no real commitment to it, particularly. There's the idea that you don't harm other beings, that you understand and seek to uphold the notion of cause and effect to the best of your ability. But again, refuge is a beginning, it's a starting point. It's how we begin our journey as Buddhists. Is it necessary? Well, it could be said, no, you can just meditate, you can read, study, you don't have to take refuge. Traditionally, if one's gonna call oneself a Buddhist, say, I'm Buddhist. You take refuge. Otherwise, I think it's okay to say, well, I like Buddhism, I'm interested in Buddhism, I am studying Buddhism, I'm following Buddhist teachings, but that's different from saying I'm a Buddhist. So it's kind of a crossover, a threshold, I guess you could say. Again, a formal acknowledgement and entrance into the Buddhist path. In the Tibetan tradition, typically you're given a Buddhist name, usually in the Tibetan language. In other traditions, there's other ways this is done in the Zen tradition and so on.
Thank you for that, Lama Dawa. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching Buddhist Daily.
Thank you, everyone, for your attention. Please, if you have questions, if you'd like clarification or further explanation, or you have questions of your own about either your practice or something you're wondering about in the context of Buddhism, please submit that to us. We'd love to get your questions and try to address them here in this podcast format. So thank you all for your attention and patience. Tal, thank you for hosting.
Of course. Yeah, as Lama Da was saying, please submit the questions in the comments section below. Check us out on YouTube, all our other videos, youtube.com/@Buddhist Daily. That's youtube.com/@Buddhist Daily. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Please like, subscribe, and share the video with your friends and family. See you next time.